Red Zone weather in Bruton, Alabama, with meteorologist Spinks Meganson. Severe weather coverage starts right now.
Damaging wind gusts and a few tornadoes possible in the overnight hours. A tornado watch is now in effect for parts of West Alabama. Counties further to the east likely to go under a separate tornado watch as we get into the late evening or early morning hours of your Thursday. Hope you're having a nice Wednesday evening. Thunderstorms have developed as expected, and we now have severe thunderstorm warnings being posted to our west across parts of southwest Mississippi, approaching Interstate 55. These thunderstorms are going to translate to the east in the hours ahead, and some of those storms could be severe as they approach West Alabama. I do think that thunderstorms could potentially produce some damaging straight line winds, maybe a few tornadoes, potentially some large hail, and even flash flooding if storms train over the same areas. Got a lot to talk about this evening. First thing you need to know is that we now have a tornado watch ongoing for all parts of Mobile County, Washington County, and Clark County back here in West Alabama. This tornado watch also includes Choctaw, Marengo, Wilcox, Dallas, Perry, Hale, Greene, and Sumter counties in west central Alabama, along with all of southeast Mississippi. And so Jackson, Harrison, George, Greene County, also Wayne County involved in the tornado watch until 2 a.m. If you're further to the east, perhaps in Baldwin County or Escambia County, Florida, Escambia County, Alabama, Conecuh, Monroe County, Covington, further east, a new tornado watch will probably be needed as we get into the overnight hours. So this is just phase one of what we're going to be dealing with tonight as a band of thunderstorms crosses the region from west to east. We have an ongoing standard level 2 out of 5 risk for all of Alabama, all of northwest Florida as well. And what that means is scattered severe thunderstorms will be possible. Not everyone's going to have severe weather tonight. In fact, I think that a good number of us probably won't. But where we do have severe weather, we could have some intense storms. And I'm most concerned tonight about the damaging straight line wind potential. The level 2 risk encompasses all of South Alabama and Northwest Florida. So no matter where you're watching from across the region, you are now involved in this level 2 out of 5 risk. Let's talk about timing. This is a line of storms that is developing back here in southwest Mississippi. It's going to come into southeast Mississippi as we get towards 10 and 11 o'clock, pushing into West Alabama around midnight or 1 a.m. It's going to keep moving to the east, getting to places like Mobile and Monroeville, say around 2 or 3 in the morning, working its way to the east into Pensacola, Milton, Bruton, areas near Evergreen, Georgiana, Greenville, around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, before getting on out of here into Andalusia, Opp, Crestview, Navarre, and Destin, probably around 5 or 6 in the morning. So this thing is going to move from west to east across the region, and as it does so, it could bring with it a chance of damaging straight line winds. Here's how it may happen. We are going to have to watch a few storms out ahead of the main batch of storms. There could be a few tornadoes along these leading storms that are actually out ahead of the main band of storms. And the Storm Prediction Center notes that if that happens, some of those tornadoes could be an EF2 tornado. And so watching this line of storms, that look is valid at 3 a.m. There's 4 a.m. storms entering northwest Florida and moving on to the east. And again, maybe even some flash flooding if storms happen to train over the same areas. By 6 and 7 o'clock, storms kicking on out to the east, and really much of the daytime hours of Thursday going to be dry. But before we get to that dry pattern tomorrow with cooler, drier air filtering in behind the cold front, we've got to contend with this line of thunderstorms that's going to come through here in the overnight hours. I can't tell you how many overnight events that I've covered over the last few years. You've been with me, many of you have been with me every step of the way. We have had so many severe weather events in the overnight hours. Got another one tonight, so have a way to hear warnings before you go to sleep. You need something like a loud NOAA weather radio that can wake you up in case we have a few tornado warnings embedded with this line while it comes across our local area. Of course, even when I'm not live on Facebook, in other words, when there's not tornado warnings, we are posting constant updates in our free Red Zone Weather app and at redzoneweather.com. If you think, oh, I can't get the app, well, just go to redzoneweather.com from any browsers. We keep you updated as this line of storms comes on through. So let's get in there and talk about some particulars. We have a level 2 out of 5 tornado risk. And the Storm Prediction Center notes that, again, if we have storms out ahead of that main batch of storms, some of those could perhaps ramp up to EF2 intensity. And so that would be kind of a bigger tornado than kind of the standard squall line tornadoes that are usually EF0 or EF1. I think the main event tonight, however, is going to be this, damaging straight line winds. And SPC has a higher corridor here where they're suggesting that we have a higher probability of seeing widespread damaging wind gusts. In other words, trees coming down. That's going to be the main concern with this batch of storms as it works its way from west to east across the region. There is a chance that storms kind of weaken as they cross our region, but it may not matter too much because storms may still be severe, I should say, while they're crossing our local area. Large hail may also happen in the strongest of the storm. So you can clearly see our number one concern going to be damaging straight line winds that produce widespread power outages. And so now is the time, long before the storms get here. You've got multiple hours until these storms arrive in most locations across the region. Now's the time to charge your iPhone or your smartphone, charge the tablets as well and the laptops so you can watch us live if we have a few tornadoes across our region. Again, I think that damaging straight line winds is going to be the main concern, but I can't rule out a few tornadoes along the way as well. Obviously, cloud to ground lightning and loud thunder going to happen in these storms as they rumble across our region. So you may be wondering, why are we having severe weather tonight? Well, we have a cold front coming in, and out ahead of that cold front, the air is very warm, moist, and soupy, and supportive, potentially, of a few strong storms. When you look at this parameter, this is called surface-based CAPE, or convective available potential energy. It tells us how much energy can the atmosphere output to support thunderstorms. And here would be your line of storms. This is valid at 4 a.m. in the morning. Just ahead of it, you've got plenty of storm fuel, high octane fuel for storms to work with, numbers in excess of 1,500 joules per kilogram. But with this situation, once the line of storms comes through your community, we'll be able to give you an all clear. And we'll be doing that throughout the night in the Red Zone Weather app. So yet another reason to have that Red Zone Weather app. When we give you the all clear, you can go to sleep. And we encourage you, tonight is a night that I would have a way to hear warnings, but probably not necessarily a night you need to stay up and worry or anything like that. But you do have to have a way to hear urgent weather warnings before you go to sleep. So really no need to stay up all night with us. We're going to be here every step of the way, and if we have tornado warnings, we'll keep you posted. This is the reason I'm so concerned about damaging straight line winds. We've got what we call a jet streak coming through. This is what the atmosphere is kind of modeled as at 5,000 feet above your head right now. This is what we call the 850 millibar height zone. Basically, the winds at that range of the atmosphere are going to be a bit higher as storms come through. And so that could translate down to the surface very easily and knock down some trees. And so primary concern overnight, damaging straight line winds. This is a parameter off our models. This is called the lightning swath product. And this tells us that while storms are moving across our region, they're going to be outputting a good bit of lightning as well. These are kind of medium numbers. They're certainly not off the charts by any stretch of the imagination, but they're not zero either. And so going to have quite a bit of lightning and thunder as storms come through, along with that primary concern of damaging straight line winds and maybe a few tornadoes. Over the next few hours, if you step outside, you're going to notice that air feeling moist and soupy and supportive of severe weather. There's kind of a feel if you step outside. You know what I'm talking about. Ahead of these severe weather events, the air feels more dense, and that's going to happen as we have dew points that are going to be in excess of 70 degrees. Now, tomorrow, dew points are going to crash after the cold front comes through. Cool, dry air going to work its way in after the cold front moves through. So temperatures also going to take a nosedive tomorrow. Highs earlier today were in the 80s. Tomorrow we're going to struggle to get to 60 degrees. So about 20 degrees cooler than today. Even when storms come through tonight, this would be where your line of storms is. Out ahead of the storm is going to be in the 70s, back right behind the storms in the 60s. And so temperature is going to crash as we get into the morning hours of your Thursday. We'll start the day around 8 a.m. in the 50s in most spots as this cold front continues to surge in across the local area. We have another cold snap on the way as we get into Monday of next week. Maybe a few showers on Monday. The weekend, by the way, is going to be picture perfect. So we'll deal with the severe weather potential tonight, and then we'll give you an all clear in the morning, and you can go about your weekend and not worry about weather. So maybe a few showers around late in the day on Sunday. Scattered showers possible on Monday. Look at highs on Tuesday in the 50s, and so really feeling cooler in here as we get into next week. I realize that many of you have been with me for a long time, and we certainly appreciate you watching, but it's so interesting because we have a ton of folks at our military installations along the coast specifically that watch our coverage. Folks coming into NAS Pensacola, Eglin Air Force Base, Whiting Field, Hurlburt Field, other wonderful military installations as well. If you've never screenshot this on your phone, I would encourage you to do it now. This is a fantastic resource to have during severe weather. Most important thing you can do if a tornado warning is issued for your area is grab a helmet, something to protect your head. This is something that I've said for years, and it's something I'm going to continue to say because it absolutely saves lives. All right, so having a tornado helmet, something hard and sturdy, even if you don't have a helmet, we all have a cooking pot at home. I know that sounds funny, but it absolutely can save your life. That's for adults and for kids. You got to have something hard and sturdy. Putting infants in car seats and obviously having the infant with you in the tornado safe place. That's a great practice as well. The idea, we want to insulate ourselves. Everybody needs to be insulated, especially with your head. Tornado helmets, absolutely great. So in the overnight hours, we're talking the potential for damaging straight line winds and a few tornadoes as this line of storms comes in from the west. We'll have plenty of updates posted throughout the evening and in the overnight hours in the Red Zone Weather app. And if we have tornado warnings, just like always, we'll come on Facebook Live and YouTube Live to bring you the very latest. On behalf of all of us here at Red Zone Group LLC, I'm meteorologist Spinks Meganson saying goodbye for now. I do hope you have a good evening. Let me know if you have any specific questions in the comments below, and I'll try to get to those in just a little bit. We will see you soon.
Be sure to find us across social media, and don't forget to download the free Red Zone Weather app and set up your customized alerts. Please support our Red Zone weather sponsors who make our coverage possible every single day.
Just since we started the live video, we now have tornado warnings back in southeast Mississippi near Macomb, also one in Louisiana just to the northwest of Baton Rouge. Storms on the way. Have a way to hear warnings in the overnight hours.